I have to speak about Liferay DXP 7.1, our newest version. Of course, Jorge was mentioning some things in his talk. So let's see if I can surprise you, if I still have to provide some additional clues of our new version. And I have divided the talk into 4 different areas, okay? So the product itself is divided into different areas, and we have been improving our products in all the areas, okay? So we have new stuff, new enhancements at the core level, then, of course, at the web content management level, web experience, collaboration, and finally, forms and workflow. So I will try to explain you our improvements and what are the new things that you can do with Liferay out of the box. If you don't mind, I would prefer to stop at every area at the end, and then if someone has any question, you can ask, okay? And then I'll try to answer the question. You can ask whatever you want, okay? You are free to ask whatever you want. We are like few people here in family, so I have a library running there. If someone asks something that you want me to solve, I can do. I won't be giving any demo during my presentation because later we'll have demos with Rui and Mateo also about forms, web content management, GDPR, etc. Live demos that they will do, okay? So that's why I'm not doing any demo right now. But if you ask something, I can use the Liferay installation that I have on my laptop. So let's start with the general and core improvements that we have in our newest version. Remember that 7.1 happened on July, so it's been with us for the 3-4 last months, okay? So one of the things that we have in this new version is around usability, about usability, okay? So even since Liferay DXP 7.0, we have many efforts put in everything about usability. It's not also important for us that the business user, the marketer, is comfortable with the platform, but also the system administrator is a key role in Liferay, okay? So for this version, in 7.1, for instance, we have reorganized the system settings. So if you remember, we used to have a portal.properties, then we used to have, and we have a system settings in Liferay 7.0 because of our modularization, etc. And you'll see that in Liferay 7.1, if you want to go to that system settings, the interface has changed, okay? So now there's icon, there's categories, etc., that everything is easier. The same with the product menu, okay? You'll see that we've created some new menus for building pages, for maintaining fragments, templates, etc. Again, trying to ease your work, trying to empower that users, also the administrators of the platform. With all of that usability, etc., we also have put many efforts in UX. Okay, so as you may know from Liferay DXP 7.0, we have Lexicon. Lexicon is our language, our experience language, just to tell you what are the rules, what are the key components when we are talking about front end. Okay, and in top of Lexicon we have Clay. What is Clay? Clay is the web experience, the web how we put these Lexicon rules into our website, okay, into our platform. So for 7.1, we provide new components, a new version of Clay, okay? Enhancements to this Clay that is our basis, our fundamental for everything around UX. Now it's based on Bootstrap 4. It's very important because Liferay 7.0 was based on Bootstrap 3. You know Bootstrap, the standard framework for having responsive websites that will adapt to the size of the device that is coming to your site, okay? So now our foundation is based on Bootstrap 4. So if you are upgrading from Liferay 7.0 to Liferay 7.1, you'll find that well, you have to adapt a little bit your theme because of that. That's a bootstrap change, okay, not a Liferay itself change. But we have created a compatibility layer, okay? It's automatically that your old theme will still work, at least temporarily, with fewer changes that you will have to create, maybe a 5%, etc., in order to have your theme working. In the end, you will have to change it because of that bootstrap evolution, okay? But at first, it will work. This is a compatibility layer that happens automatically. We also have created some new components. In the previous versions of Liferay, we didn't have like this, like charts, a framework inside Clay, which provides you charts. Okay, the JavaScript framework inside Clay. So now in our new products like Liferay DXP Cloud, Liferay DXP Analytics, etc., you are seeing that we are already using this kind of charts. And finally, the compatibility with modern JavaScript frameworks. Chema is in the other room talking about this, and he's explaining that now with Liferay 7.1, it's easier to integrate Vue, Angular, React. So this is something that goes into this history, okay, into this side of the product. Of course, Jorge was also mentioning GDPR. And Rui, this evening, will explain about this and will share with you a live demo. In the end, it's just a bunch of new functionalities in order to erase, in order to anonymize, to export the data of a user. But what I want to also highlight is that everything is available through the API, okay? So if you have a more big process in your company, let's say that you want to delete the data from a user, but that user is on your CRM. That user is on your bill system. That user is on Liferay because he's a user of an agent's portal or whatever. Then you will have to create a whole process, and at least on the Liferay side, you will have those APIs in order to erase the data, in order to export the data, etc. Okay? Also, in these general and core features, you'll find this is something that we haven't highlighted enough. I don't know why. Even we have a white paper about Liferay 7.1 new capabilities, and we don't mention this one. Okay, this is technical. Is this business? Well, the thing is that now Liferay is available as a server of OAuth in the 2.0 version. So it means that you can share things in a more secure way using this protocol that other companies use. This is a standard, okay? Like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. They are using this protocol, and now you have it in Liferay. You can configure Liferay as a server of authorization and decide from the APIs that you are exposing, how are they going to be accessed, what pieces of information is going to be accessed, and you'll be sure that there's a token interchange, etc. Everything will go with secure, okay? For instance, if you know about Liferay screens, our set of components to create mobile applications, you'll find that there's a new version that is Liferay Screens 4.0, and it's already ready for OAuth 2.0. Okay, I'm sorry because of the different versions, but that's true. This is already available. So you have Liferay Screens. You can create native apps, even more hybrid apps if you need so, being sure that everything is interchanged, everything is communicated securely, okay, in a secure way. Finally, in the core part of the product, we also put some efforts around the search, okay? So in search, remember, first, we have Elasticsearch 6.1. Okay, Elasticsearch is always evolving. It's like adding a new version every, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So it's hard to keep on them. But we already have for Liferay 7.0 and Liferay 7.1 our compatibility against Elasticsearch 6.1, okay? And we will provide sooner new versions, etc. We also have Solar 7.0. If someone is using Solar, Solar 7.0 is also available with Liferay DXP 7.1, okay? And another thing that we did on search, related to search, is to divide the search results page into the different components that we have in the search results page, okay? So we have the faces, then suggestions, then the search results, of course, and you have to create the page by yourselves, okay? You have to create the search results page and decide what faces, what, again, where do we want to configure the suggestions, etc. And it will be your own decision. So we don't have anymore a ready-to-use search results page. No, you have to create it by yourself and decide which components will be there and how and where, okay? Well, this is adding also versatility. This is also adding flexibility to the platform. Okay, so this is all for the core. I think is all enough. So if someone has now adapt, it's time to ask for it, okay? So before going to the second area, if someone has adapt, we have here Mateo with a microphone. So yes, 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 no, no, no. Everything's clear. Okay, so we move forward, okay? So second, in fact, if you have been hearing the talk from Jorge Ferrer, one of the suites that, or one of the areas that we've been putting more and more efforts, it's about web experience management, okay? Yes, one of our trends for 7.1 is to empower marketers, empower business users to create a new way of dealing with pages, dealing with content in Liferay. This is a huge story, okay, going on. I have many things to share with you in the 7.1 version, and also Rui will explain later that in 7.2, 7.3, we will have more and more enhancements related to this. The very first basic concept is about content pages, okay? So in Liferay, now you have two ways of creating pages, two ways that are compatible, okay? You can have a site, and in that site, you will have widget pages, the usual pages in Liferay, and content pages, all mixed together, okay? This is not, and you cannot use it if you don't want to. You'll find if you need so, okay? So for instance, content pages are very good for landing pages, for one-off content pages, okay, where you want to focus everything in the content. And that content is not going to be reusable. Maybe that content is not going to be reusable, okay? So that's where content pages fit. And of course, our marketers, our business users, they'll find this kind of fragments. You already saw the video from Jorge. You'll see this evening or later on the demo with Rui, okay? So here, this is a fragment, okay, that you have drag and drop, that you have add to a content page. And this fragment has some capabilities that I can activate. For instance, I have decided that on the first one, you can edit inline, and you'll have our alloy editor, okay? What you see is what you get editor in order to create some formats, okay? Maybe you want to put it in bold, in underline, etc. Different capabilities that I decide which ones are going to be ready. I can also allow to change the image or maybe the link that discovered there. Then maybe it's a link, and you will change the URL that is pointing to, okay? And this is, again, this is the very first version, our very first starting point with this kind of new way of creating pages. But even as this is the first version, we have added several tools that are high valued, okay? Like, for instance, dynamism. You can add navigation menus, you can add tag cloud, you can add forms, whatever widget, usual portlet applications that you used to add in a page, it's also available in a content page, okay? Or maybe a list of assets, news, etc. And we also have that propagation of changes, okay? So when you create fragments, you can also create templates and then pages, okay? So those fragments are your basis, are how it will look like. It's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. What happens if I change a fragment? What happens with the page that is using it? So you will decide, okay? You change your fragment, nothing happens here, and then there's an interface where you decide if you want to apply the changes that you have done in the fragment, in the template, into the page that is using it. You decide, okay? It's not automatically, it's just a button, of course, but you decide when it's going to happen. Okay, going forward in this concept, we also developed a different way of creating display pages, okay? So display pages, what are display pages? If you, okay, the common example is about news. I have an index of news in my website, and then if I click, I go to a detailed view of a specific piece of news, okay, of an article, like this one. And I decide where the title goes, where the author goes, where the date goes, etc. And with bold, with red, I don't know. That kind of stuff has to be done with a template. Okay, here we are dealing with a little bit of programming, then someone, hey, free market, okay, whatever, velocity, etc. With fragments, mixing fragments and structures in Liferay, you'll see that now we have an graphic way of defining this. Okay, you can create a display page with no single line of code. Okay, so we'll see in the demos. And last but not least, we also have changed the way menus work in Liferay, okay? So in previous versions of Liferay, even 7.0, our menus were coupled, were together with the hierarchy of pages, okay? We have a page, then the page has a father, then a son, etc. And this is how our menus work. So people were used to create, well, I don't know, different ways of dealing with today's pages. Let's talk about the footer of a page, okay, where we used to have a navigation there also, no? So what happens? It seems that the marketers, I don't know why, they say, okay, I have a hierarchy of pages on top in a menu, but in the footer, I want to say the things in a completely different way. The order is going to be changed. I want a new option here in the middle, etc. So what did our users were used to do? They created like a web content that was like similar to a menu, something like that. And then what happens if I delete a page? Someone has to remember to delete that page from the footer if it is there, okay? This is changed in Liferay 7.1. Now we have menus as a single entity and pages as a single entity. Of course that we have created some kind of helping ways, like if you create a page, then it will automatically go to the default menu that you choose. We are going to ask you about it. But you can create more than one menu, 3, 4, 5, 6 menus, and those menus are real menus, okay? If you delete a page, then the page will be deleted in every menu that is in. This is easy, okay, yeah, but now it's happening, okay? Now it's possible. Now it's easier than before. Okay, and before closing this area, this second area, I wanted also to remember that we now, with 7.1, we have adaptive media out of the box. In 7.0, you have to install it. In 7.1, it is out of the box. So remember that if you upload an image into Liferay, Liferay will create different versions of the image for you. And then Liferay, again, transparent, automatically will decide which image will serve depending on the size of the device that is accessing the portal, okay? You only have to configure the sizes that you wanna deal with, okay? So one for mobiles, one for tablets, etc. You just configure that, and Liferay does the work for yourself. This is adaptive media. We also have audience targeting available in our marketplace. It does comply with the GDPR. Okay, so when deleting a user, every data that audience targeting is storing is also being deleted, etc. And some improvements in our staging. Not so many, in fact, not so many. We put the efforts in trying to correct bugs, etc., in this part. But there's a new feature that you can select this content, this specific content, and this content is now going to live. Now, this one, only this one, goes live. Okay, this is new for 7.1. That's it in this area. Is there any doubt until this point? Someone want to ask something? I like. It's better for me. Okay, or not, I don't know. Okay, thank you. So let's move forward now with collaboration, another area of the product. This area, we have been focusing in some of the components. Okay, this is a big area. We have more than 20 components in the collaboration area. So it's a big area, and we will be evolving it also in 7.2, 7.3. But for 7.1, we have some improvements, like, for instance, in blogs, okay? We have new SEO improvements. So if you remember, in Liferay 7.0, when we first started to improve this component, we had to recreate the URL of your blog entry automatically, okay? As soon as you put a title, then it creates a URL for you. But you cannot change it. So now in 7.1, you can change it, okay? So you can change that URL. So for instance, if you change the title, it's going to have the correct title in the URL. But what is most important is that the old URL will act as a redirect to the new one. So nobody's going to lose your blog entry, okay? If someone has it in favorites or whatever, that traffic is going to work, still work, okay? We have some new index for presenting the blogs, like the one that I'm showing here. So here you see using cards from Clay, okay? We are using cards from Clay, and you can see, well, this is out of the box. If you like this look and feel, of course that you can create your own ADTs, your own templates, but this is out of the box. And some additional things like the reading time. So Liferay is going to calculate automatically how many reading time does a user needs, and then it's going to be shown. Okay, so this blog is going to cost you like 5 minutes. Okay, and some other enhancements. And also we have message boards, not too much enhancements here, but related to the user, okay? He can now drag and drop attachments. Now there's a new way of showing threads and category, what is happening inside a thread. And well, if you have been using our community forums in Liferay, they are using Liferay 7.1, so you can see there our improvements. Finally, in this area, we have the new connector for SharePoint. Okay, SharePoint also evolves, and we have a ready-to-use connector for on-premise and on cloud. Okay, so if you want to connect your SharePoint as an external repository into documents and media, you can do that. We also have Google Drive connector. It's not a repository, but you can pick what documents of Google Drive do you want to manage inside Liferay, and a look and feel revision for all components. I'm going to skip dApps for collaboration because the enhancements are less, okay? And I'm going to switch to forms and workflow, the last functional area that I wanted to highlight in 7.1, okay? So again, Jorge was speaking about this, and Mateo will have a demo later on with forms. Look, there are many new things in forms, okay? So we have new capabilities, we have a whole conditional rules engine that is going to add, again, business logic without any single kind of line of code. But we also have extensibility, okay? If you want to create your own field type, there's a tutorial for that. If you want to create your own data storage, there's a tutorial for that, okay? So just follow that tutorials, and if you are a Java expert, you will do your own field type, etc. So capabilities, localization is important. Now the forms itself are multilingual with an interface similar to a web experience, okay? So you don't need to create a form in English, a form in Italian, a form in Spanish, and then to the site. No, there's a single form and everything is translated. We were talking about element sets, etc. Autosaving was also shown by Jorge as this is something that is going to happen, okay? So the form is autosaved. This is something that you can configure in system settings. It's going to happen every minute, every 2 minutes, etc. This is something configurable, and then you can benefit from that. And of course, everything about conditional rules, okay? Conditional rules are very important because they give you that power. The real power is here, okay? So without programming, you decide, I want to, if the user selects this value in this select list, in this combo, then I will jump to the third page. Then I will jump to the fourth page. Then this field is going to be required. We'll see later. This is very easy to use, okay? And workflows. Workflows had also been improved here in the very last version of Liferay. Remember that you can have a form and then a workflow together. So on every submit, the workflow gets fired, okay? The workflow starts. Well, this is a good thing that Forms provides you. And in workflows, we have improved things. We have a new control panel where you can monitorize what is happening with your workflows, in which step are they, etc. Okay? We'll see later this with Matteo. So finally, because I only have 1 minute, I didn't want to end this talk without talking about development. It's a very good thing in Liferay that we want to provide you out-of-the-box things, more than 70 portlets, more or less ready to use. But we are also always focused on development, okay? And in 7.1, there are many improvements we've been talking about, and we will be talking about them during these 2 days. So here we can highlight some of them, like our efforts in hybrid and native mobile development. Remember that our framework, Liferay Screens, I don't know if it is the one and only, but it's one of the frameworks that allows you to combine hybrid and native development in the same app. So you decide, it's up to you. We also have IntelliJ plugin with more or less some capabilities, not the same ones that we have in Eclipse, but we are evolving it. And of course, APO. This will happen just later with Pablo, and it's everything about our full REST APIs with hypermedia, okay? So I have 1 more minute. Is there any doubt? No? Okay, I will be here today, but also tomorrow. So if anyone wants to come, I can understand Italian. I cannot speak Italian, but I can understand Italian. So if everyone wants to come and ask me something, we can try in the laptop and we can see it live. Okay?
Ci sono altre domande?
Thank you. Grazie. Grazie mille.